The rest of this tournament, it's a year-long LCK. It's not 2 splits.
Yep. And we have to remember as well, like, no matter what happens here in this game, we get a phenomenal time in both of the best of 5s that we're going to see in the Inspire Arena. Because either it's GenG looking for revenge against KT, who put them in the lower bracket in the first place, or it's a telecom war.
Yeah.
And then we could have a rematch of the LCK final of last year in summer, which was HLE versus GenG, or it's T1 being able to get their revenge after they got 3-0'd by HLE to be in the lower bracket themselves.
Same for KT. Looking for revenge the same way.
It's so cool.
Smolder banned here by T1 on blue side. Kai'Sa banned as well. There's no way they go 3 for 3 and knock the Zeri out here as well. Certainly. That is
a lot of AD carries that are banned away. As the
Nautilus is still available. Bard is still available. Those are the big support picks here.
Yep.
Bard is no longer available.
Nope. Will we see the Aurora being the final ban on GenG's side? Feels like the most powerful thing that is still left up. Possibly blindable as well, in theory, especially with the flexibility that you do have.
Yeah, I think it's a really strong ban. The Rumble as well is still available, and Aurora is so strong into it. So with this Aurora ban here for T1, maybe the Rumble ban ends up being the final one for GenG.
Yeah, we'll see whether they do decide to take that one away. The Maokai and the Ziggs were both banned by T1 in the last game. They also banned Rumble. So very different champions now left up and available. It's a very different train of thought being taken by T1 moving into this draft. And we'll see what GenG are going to do to pivot themselves, as it will be the Trundle taken away.
So saying if you pick the Rumble, we pick the Ornn. Pretty clear statement here, I would say, from GenG. With that final ban, it just removes the ability for Oner to carry on this Trundle pick as well. And it's going to be Ziggs to be hovered first.
Oh my, the Ziggs
If you
first
told me
pick.
that T1 would first pick Ziggs this year, I would have laughed loudly.
Yeah. I don't know whether I necessarily like it. They didn't look fantastic on the Ziggs game, the only one that they lost in the DK series previously. But they haven't looked good into the Ziggs compositions either, so that is going to be the pivot. The On is still going to be a consideration regardless.
Rather than the Rumble, want to have that safer pick for Keen in the top side here.
Okay.
And we'll see what comes with this, because you get one part of your bottom duo here. Even lock away a support right now. Like you could go, for example, Rakan or Nautilus and then grab Zeri on 3. And just hope to get through the laning phase and then scale up later on with this Ornn pick and the ornaments that come with it. They go for the Rakan.
And this is actually really cute, because the Ornn is a decent matchup into the Rumble. Rumble, I think, is the worst enemy of Rakan. And so to lock them both away means that if they do decide to make the Rakan's life difficult, then you've got the Ornn already there to try and save that matchup.
The Poppy already gone, the Talia gone. I do agree with you. Jace to be the consideration here for Doran in the top lane. There's a lot of poke here in this T1 draft already. A lot of range, a lot of poke, a lot of safety in lane matchups thus far. I really want to grab a jungle pick for Oner right now. It's been very thinned out. It's difficult to predict what we'll see.
Yep. We have to remember as well that the Ziggs is theoretically a flex pick. Could go into the hands of Faker in the mid lane. As the
Jace, same story, right? So, definitely true.
Very good point.
I think this Maokai is also technically flexible as well, especially into Rakan.
Oh, yeah, true, actually.
Like,
this is likely Keria's pick.
This is similar to what we saw in Game 4, where T1 keep the draft very difficult to read for GenG.
Okay.
See if an AD carry pick just gets locked away here now, or if they want to lock up jungle instead. Chovy can save his pick until much later on if he wants to. This draft is still very flexible for GenG in terms of what scaling picks they're looking for.
Oh, Nocturne going to be the consideration here. Gives them some hard engage, allows you to get in on top of this largely poke-based composition from what they're seeing so far.
It's one of the only jungle picks left that can get past the Maokai ultimate reliably as well. So in terms of the zoning that either Keria or Oner can provide here, you can just simply get past it and get that backline access onto the Ziggs or the Jace. It does make a lot of sense here in this draft. As the bans, I wouldn't want to be in the coaching staff's position here. Very tricky when you don't know really where any of this stuff is going 100%.
Yeah.
Again, it's likely to be Ziggs in the bottom lane, likely to be top lane Jace and jungle Maokai. take away the Zoe as they agree. And that's even more poke, even more range in this draft for T1. The Zeri felt like an eventuality. I thought we were going to see that locked in on 3, but instead they wait, they take the Nocturne, and the Zeri is now gone.
Yeah, and I think Ruler wants to make sure that he knows he's laning into a Ziggs before he makes a decision. I think that I can respect that that train of thought, but it does now mean that his champion pool is going to get ever further thinned as 3 champions have now been banned away. As one final ban here, and it will be the Victor taken away from Faker, who, as we know, could still just be playing Ziggs in theory, but likely to be the Gumayusi choice, as that's where it's gone in the past for T1. One final ban, will it be, like, you could ban Jinx if you want to, just stay on the hyper carry train?
Ezreal, technically possible here to be banned. You know, anything that scales well is something you don't want to face here on the hands of Ruler. Ban the Lissandra, which works really well with this draft, actually, and can snap get onto the back line with the Nocturne fairly easily. Vayne was not really what I had in mind, especially with the range issue. I think this is not going to be real. Surely not.
I hope it's not real. The last time we saw it was Diablo, and it did not look fantastic. But let's see what Ruler does decide to do, hovering it just for the minute.
No way.
Time's ticking down. Lucian Rakan.
All right,
make us feel all that fantastic, but we'll be locked in here.
Still waiting for a scaling damage pick on this Gen G draft.
Lucian, theoretically a flex pick as well, actually.
That is true. That is very true. Unlikely, but true.
Yeah, we do need magic damage on the side of Gen G.
I think that the Aurelion Soul I mentioned last game might still be relevant here in this draft. So much is taken away. The Yone.
Oh my goodness.
Which still leaves us somewhat unsure, but again, it's likely the Jace top, the Yone mid, and the Ziggs bottom. I think it's all but certain.
And now we need confirmation on where the Maokai is going. We're expecting that one to be in the support position, but we are hovering over Oner right now.
I mean, they could lock Sejuani, I suppose.
Yep.
It's actually kind of an angle.
I mean, Sejuani Jace Yone is a pretty devastating top side of the map, especially when you have Ziggs.
Oner looking for the Lilia.
Okay.
All right. Well, this is a draft.
Man, I'm impressed with what T1 has put together. I'm not like, when I see T1 with a Ziggs draft, it doesn't necessarily make me feel, oh yes, this is going to be fantastic. But you look at this just from a power and potential of the champion's way, man, it looks pretty impressive as Mel is being hovered.
I mean, this is a pretty strong scaling pick, and with all the squishy champions on the side of T1 and the front line you have, you can just pop people. But he'll play Vex!
All right, it's been a while. The Vex is going to be locked in here for Chovy. This is a champion that he's really enjoyed in the past.
Man, Gen G love their all-in drafts in the second half of this series, don't they?
Can really get some work done. Man, these are some fun Game 5 drafts. Let's get onto the Rift here. Game number 5.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for the final game of this series. Inspire Arena or go home, and then you have to play in the play-ins against the LPL 4th seed. Both of these teams will be at Worlds, but one of them may only be there for one series.
Yeah, insane. We started the year with Doran and Zeus swapping teams. And Tank Jace was the meta, the very beginning of the LCK. All the way back, LCK Cup, early days of LCK. And Doran had some of his best performances on Tank Jace back then, but we haven't really seen this pick be relevant in several months. And it takes Game 5 Fearless to bring it out again here. We are going to see that lane swap. I guess we can call it the Viper lane swap from now on that we saw from Hanwha Life Esports. He was the first to do it. He gets to keep the name. And we'll be in Ornn going to the bottom side. And now this Ornn pick makes a lot of sense. They did the similar strategy with the Cassante on the bottom side of the map. Now, you are playing into Ziggs, so it's not a fun time.
Yeah, and Jace certainly going to be able to hold his own a little bit better than a lot of other champions here on this top side. And maybe the Gen G bottom lane not going to quite be feeling as good. But early game for a Ziggs, not exactly going to be a lane bully, you could say.
Yeah, Duro can obviously offer a lot of sustain for this tanky Ornn pick here in this weird lane swap scenario.
Yep.
So Keen can continue to be relevant about Guma hitting his bombs, and we can weave in autos, especially with his empowered passive. See how much damage he can get done. This Vex pick was kind of a Yone counter pick for a little while, but hasn't really been very common. Was more of a counter pick for picks like Ahri and stuff back in the day. Haven't really seen it too much, but it was one of Chovy's kind of tech picks. And after Vex was irrelevant, he kept playing it. It's his first time playing it here this season, but does have a history of picking it when other teams would shy away.
Yeah, I feel like this is like a Knight and Chovy pick.
Yeah.
In my mind. They're the two players that I think will always just have Vex there. Is how that one kind of goes.
He's 4-0 on the pick.
Damn. Didn't know that it was quite that impressive for the Vex stats. Thank you to production for letting us know exactly how he's doing thus far.
Ruler's so far putting off a strong performance with that trade there in the top side into Doran. Duro's now joined him here. Significantly less experience, the lane swap, but won't be able to come up, and now the lane swap has kind of completed its journey.
Yep.
As we will see Doran teleporting down bottom side to deal with this Ornn.
Kind of interesting as well with putting the AD carry in a solo lane for just a little while as we do.
Ruler.
Whoa!
And we're back.
Video games have occurred once again on our screens. It is a joyous occasion. And let's see how it is going to go from now on. As we do have some Australian lanes, Gumayusi and Keria here towards the top side of the map. And it's just really good to know that everyone that needed to go to the bathroom has gone to the bathroom. And so no one's going to be uncomfortable and they can focus. That's why the pause is sometimes a really good thing. Oh yeah, there's a Vex in this game. That's cool.
Yeah, the Vex was
let me just look.
draft.
Yeah, there's a Lilia.
Yeah, Lilia also chosen, true.
Cool.
T1 held several flexes until that Lilia was locked in. Speaking of the Lilia, trying to come over here and steal this Raptor camp away, but will be unsuccessful.
Yeah.
We had the victim of the lane swap really be that Ornn sort of in the bottom lane for a little while. Actually looked like he was going to channel a back, but does not go for it. And we're in an even game state here. T1 with a slight gold lead.
So if you are confused about why things were paused, there was a suspected bug, but the bug wasn't actually a bug, and then we resumed the game.
And we don't have full details on it, but I'm sure the information will come out eventually.
Yeah, there'll be a statement about it, and we'll try and keep you informed if we do get any added information, but otherwise we'll just go along with the game.
Yeah, I think Cage's speculation is probably closest to anything we have, and let's move on. So, yeah, this is a bad matchup for Yone.
Faker is in a little bit of trouble, but he is up a teleport, so actually just good use of health bar.
Yeah. Chovy may stop this back, however. Not quite with the cooldown, as Faker actually decides to stay, because teleport takes so long. You don't just get that wave for free. Nice dodge here from Faker.
Yeah, it wasn't a cannon wave, so he couldn't actually buy the extra time, but it still feels dangerous.
I mean, now he's just going to lose a plate as well.
Okay, well, Chovy laning very effectively here at the beginning of this game, number 5. And same can be said for, Gumayusi chilling in his lane as well.
One more lane
Lilia.
stop, or back stop.
No.
And, he hits it as well. Faker hits level 6 first, but won't necessarily matter here. Hopefully won't have to use it defensively. Chovy has 6 now as well. But this is also, I wanted to mention this earlier, maybe it could have been a talking point in the pause, but Faker not known for his Yone, even though he does have that world skin on it. That was really best performance on the pick. We saw him struggle with the pick a lot over the course of many Yone metas.
Yep.
And simply dealt with it by just not picking it most of the time. Is it get stopped again?
Man, this is really frustrating. This time, at least, it is a cannon wave, so we'll likely only miss 1 minion, and then should be able to pick up the wave. But
his
still,
beak is getting worn out, man.
Yeah, no, it's kind of ludicrous. And actually, he's going to stick around as Keen having a pretty good time, actually. Like, is even on farm and is just kind of hanging out. So the on into the Jace is working for him as he finds the ulti onto Doran as well. Not going to get the Searing Charge off or anything like that, but has a health advantage here in this bottom lane, although the minion wave was already taken away.
Conducting himself quite well.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah, in the bottom lane.
I love a good train reference.
That one, yeah. As Faker will find himself a little bit behind in farm here, but Chovy is like, do I ult for it? He's like, nah.
Finally, Faker is allowed to go home.
Chovy did get a extra back off during all of that. Now the wave is pushing towards him as Doran is caught.
This is not where he really wanted to go for the honey fruit, and Chovy is right in position. Doesn't quite find the Q, and does find the ulti to pick up the kill there. Chovy might actually be able to find another one, and then does hit it onto Faker, who will be snapping back, but just a bit of damage, you could say.
The lane is such a terrible spot for Faker at the while all of that was happening, but he couldn't impact the skirmish there.
But first blood going over to Chovy just because Doran wanted to get some honey fruit.
Yeah, that was kind of greedy from Doran there. Walked face first into an ultless Nocturne, but Nocturne still got that fear, still has that backup from Chovy.
And
this is a pretty rough start here for T1 in this early game.
Yep. And picking up assists, a huge deal for Nocturne. I feel like Ultimate Hunter is something that we talk about all the time, but also just any sort of acceleration towards that level 6 is fantastic. And speaking of which, he does have it now. As Keria Gumayusi getting this wave shoved towards the turret. Not necessarily finding too much as the Satchel is going to be able to get Gumayusi to safety.
Yeah, stop that brittle proc.
Yeah.
Canyon's going to get this dragon, but it's going to be an exchange here, 1-for-1 with the grubs. There's a Chemtech dragon, so pretty high value to grab this one early. Means that chances are the soul will be more impactful. Again, could still be like an ocean. We'll find out momentarily whether we'll know what that second dragon is.
Triple grub
Triple
Ziggs,
grub for Ziggs, plus, you know, the side laning Jace. This is not a strong side laning composition here for Gen G, but the fact that Ziggs can just, if you win a team fight, walk up to a turret and explode it is definitely a potential issue. But this is an all-in dive draft here for Gen G where you basically want to be in control of the map non-stop. If Ziggs gets to hit a turret, the game state is not good for you. It means you're not doing the thing that comp is designed to do.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to collapse on a Ziggs who wants to try to greedily hit a turret in the mid lane or later in sides, because Guma, of course, took teleport on Ziggs. And so that's where the Nocturne Vex comes into play.
Oh, Dura looking for a bit of an angle, but Faker a bit fast on his feet, especially with Boots 2 now put together, so isn't going to get caught out. Like ships in the night, Keria and Dura are just going to pass by one another, but Chovy gets a really nice combo there. And half the health bar of Faker is going to be missing. Red buff is going to be foregone for the moment here by Canyon, but so far you can see slight gold advantage or something like that there for Gen G, but I think the grubs are going to be very important for T1, so that is a great pickup to start things off. Otherwise, things even on the rift between the two squads. Kind of what we want here in this Game 5, although kind of want chaos as well. I don't know. What's your favorite type of Game 5? Like a really close back and forth, mainly macro experience, as the culling is going to get soaked by Gumayusi.
I like it when two comps scale. We kind of have like trading dragons, and it ends up being like one of those 40-minuters where you maybe go to Elder, or maybe it's a lot of team fighting, or it's team fights where like only one member of both teams survives at the end of the fight and we reset and do it again. That's the kind of Game 5 I'm usually into. As long as it's not a one-sided Game 5, I love any type of Game 5, but I don't think we're getting the insane scaling game here from the draft that we see from Gen G. I think they are going to be fighting a lot. It's going to be a lot of tension, and it starts now.
Paranoia comes down. The Nature's Grasp does come on through, but it is so much damage onto the Lilia, and she just gets obliterated. Keria now finding himself in an awkward spot as Chovy flashes over to pick up the feats of warfare. And even there's trains coming into the top side of the map. Doran to try and boop Keen away. Keen just trying to have fun like the rest of his friends on this map, but he's a top laner in the end, and so he's just going to have to go back to Biffo
and this is
stuff like that.
The exact type of combo and setup I talked about that's strong into the Maokai pick, as Guma is trying to grub his way to another plate.
Could be a bit of extra money here, as that one is very, very close, and yep, should be going on over. As Chovy finds Faker once again, 2-0-1 though on this Vex. Chovy is going to be very scary in this mid game.
So the Nature's Grasp is used against a lot of melee and dive compositions for complete zoning, right? Where you say, you want to come towards my carries, you want to come towards the back line. This just completely nullifies that. And even as a support, you don't need items to make that sort of impact as Keria in this game. But that last skirmish allowed Gen G to just, with these champs and go straight through it, do exactly that. Now, on the reset, by the way, Guma and Keria, with those 3 grubs, are going to get the whole turret!
Okay, there's his first turret. This is what Ziggs is supposed to do.
Yeah.
Somewhere, Orcs is like, oh man, Guma gets it. He's figured it out.
You use the Vex and the Nocturne ults on that skirmish, and then there's no one to answer the Ziggs, and so sure, you won the fight, but T1 walk away with a gold lead here. As we go back to this, these two T1 members, Keria and Oner, are very isolated. Teleport's coming through, but look at this, you just go straight through as Vex. Do not care. Chovy has to flash for this kill as Keen may be in trouble.
Yep. Speaking of flashes, Keen does have to use his as he avoids everything else. No bowling ball going to connect there. As Canyon continuing to farm things up.
He's nearby with his ultimate, so T1 need to be careful about trying to overextend here. They're not going to do it, though. They're just going to send Ziggs to the other turret with plate money.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice knock up there from Keen. Actually, Doran taking a little bit of damage as Dora's going to make his way in. Keen getting a little sleepy, but then decides to breathe fire, and that, as it turns out, wakes you up. And so not going to be having a nap.
Yeah, whenever you eat something spicy, you get a little drowsy, you have that one burp.
Yep.
It'll wake you up.
That's exactly how that one goes.
That could have been a disaster there for the side of Gen G had they not had the Nocturne there, because it could have been a lot of potential money going over to T1. Still maintaining gold parity in this game, but they defend it well. Canyon, right time, right place on that Nocturne. Has his experimental hex plate completed. Same to be true of Oner with this Leandrius. A lot of poke between the Ziggs, the Lilia, and then the Jace as well here. It's not tank Jace anymore. Just standard Ghost Blade into the Muramana. So a lot of poke, a lot of burst damage in this draft here for T1.
It is a bit of a finesse draft, though, right? Like, yeah. I feel like
it's a keep-away draft.
Yeah, it's still one of these drafts that doesn't really want a straight-up brawl, which is precisely what Gen G do want almost this entire game, right? They want to throw their Nocturne in. They want to get that culling over the top. They want Ruler to be able to actually fight in close range.
This is my favorite type of draft disparity, as we're going to see another attempt to get Keen here, just thwarted by a rotation up. He's going to try to turn this around.
Yep, looking for the train. They will be able to knock up Doran, but the nature is grasping. Knocked back. Great satchel there from Gumayusi, but the quickness is so good as well. Chovy over to the top, and it is going to be the Drake being taken by Canyon, and somehow all of Gen G does survive. Keen just a bit too tanky.
Has just a 5-man attempt here by T1 on the top side of the map means Gen G get the dragon for free. The defense is there. The turret is still quite strong at this point. So many low health bars there for T1. Nobody dies, but the dragon goes over, and they're not able to secure the turret here for the Ziggs. Skuma's just looking pretty good on this pick, by the way, in terms of where he's going, how he's playing this pick so far. Excited to see where he takes things next. I know not everyone's excited about the tier that he has in his inventory right now, but in terms of how much money he's been able to pick up, he has an 800 gold lead right now from grabbing plates, from trying to apply that pressure with his squad and take these turrets off the map. A lot of plates went down, and he's still clearing waves in mid lane and zigzagging it up. But this is my favorite type of draft difference, right? Where you have one team that's trying to outrange and poke, the other team that goes all in. It's two completely different identities with very different win cons. One's playing defense, the other is just constantly on the attack. And Gen G, if they're going to not let this Herald go over, they are going to have to be on set attack right now.
Yeah, they don't have the quickness, though. Duro missing that ability to engage. And it does look like T1 should be able to grab this, and there it goes. Their second objective is going to be locked down. T1 with first turret and Gen G with feats of warfare, and so the next objective will get feats of strength for either team.
And I think with this Herald, it's likely second turret will be T1's as well with this Ziggs pick. Looking for this top one, maybe.
Yeah, Keen looking for a little bit of an angle there, but a lot of T1 members in the area.
Look at the zoning tools this draft has between the bombs on the ground here for Guma, Keria's ult, and his saplings. Sure, the Vex Nocturne can get past that, but on these small skirmishes that aren't really fights, they're just positioning and scuffles around vision, scuffles around like this zoning. There's so much value here in the range that T1 can offer Gen G. Gen G have to kind of play around that very defensively as, okay, Faker potentially collapsed on.
Let's see what Gen G can actually get done here as he does bring back the soul, but there's the paranoia. The fear comes on through. Mega Inferno Bomb to try and offer some damage back, but it's not going to be enough. Faker is just going to get taken out. Gen G do find their man.
Unfortunately, Ziggs was not pushing a turret at that time, so Guma's not going to get a cross map out of this one. We'll get a stop on Canyon's back, so get something at least, but I mean, even though Faker reacted so incredibly well there, has his flash and his ultimate, the range at which this comp with Ornn, Vex, and the Nocturne can engage is just insane. It looks like this is something Gen G has been scrimming a lot with how practiced they are on it. Yone seems so safe. Like, how can you catch me with so much mobility, but ends up getting caught just the same there. Everything layered on top of Faker, and he is blown up.
It does mean, though, now gold is basically even. between the two squads. No objective to pick up after this kill onto Faker, so it is just a kill onto Faker.
He unbinds, so they know exactly where he's going to be. He still ults incredibly well, but like the Ornn can redirect its ultimate to find him there. There's a Vex ultimate.
Yeah, and Canyon actually went all the way to find him as well. I think he was trying to snap back just after the Nocturne gets there, so he doesn't actually have to worry about it, but unfortunately didn't quite work out, and even then I don't know whether it would have been enough. Does mean that Canyon doesn't have to invest his flash into the play, as Chovy looks for a bit of an angle there. Redemption for some support onto Doran, and that is going to be out of turret picked up. The Zig's just doing precisely what he wants to do, as no second charge, but still getting enough done.
Yeah, he gets this turret here. The turret is down. Mentioned when the Herald went over, that was likely going to be the outcome. All of the money for Genji is on this Vex right now, whereas the rest of the gold is split pretty evenly in advantages for T1. The Zig's pretty big. The Jace doing just fine. Still going to offer a ton of poke later on. The Lilia going to be doing some power farming. 20 farm up on Canyon right now, but it's about whether the Zig survives when we get to a real team fight. It's the easy part now to kind of walk around the map and hit turrets with 3 grubs and Satchel and with a Herald support. It's like, okay, free money, but what if the coin purse goes boom? That's what Genji is relying on with this draft, with this setup. There's so many squishy targets to dive on. If T1 are grouped, it becomes a little bit harder because you grab one target maybe, but there's so many other threats. That's what they're kind of relying on when we get to those fights later. But if you get isolated in sides, if the Jace is picked alone and then fights become 5v4s, that can be the hard part for T1. But so far so good in terms of setting the Zigs up for success.
Yep, it's working thus far. And like you say, having the entire lead on Chovy is a little bit of a worrying situation because he has been pretty good at the video game in his career. So, I mean, if you're ever going to put all your eggs in a basket, probably go with that one.
If it says Chovy on it, it's a pretty good basket.
Yeah, good basket. That one. As Nature's Grasp coming on in here, it's a big commitment. Mega Inferno Bomb onto said Chovy, but he isn't going to get taken down just yet. Now the Paranoia, now the re-engage, and Doran is just dead. Still these health bars from Genji are so low. Canyon having to get himself out of there, and Oner just spins on top of this Rakan. Canyon somehow lives for so incredibly long. Gumayusi is so healthy as well. Somehow it's a Genji advantage in the fight, but it's T1 that get on top of this dragon.
I think they're thinking better of it though. Faker!
Oh, the fear does come on through still. Faker not going to die to one combo, but isn't going to be able to take the dragon. As never mind, T1 won the fight, right? It was 2 for 3.
It's 2 for 2, I believe.
Oh, was it 2
in the
for
end?
2?
And
okay.
so when we go into this fight, the initial setup here, the sleep goes down, the bomb is layered, so much damage onto Chovy, but they can't kill him. The redemption's
so good.
And then look at this turn onto Doran. He's deleted. The follow-up charm to come through here from Duro as well is massive, but then Oner's like, these health bars are low. I'm Lilia. Goes in there. Canyon lives for a really long time in this fight. Eventually taken out here. Keen also so incredibly low, but they can't chase anymore. They don't have buttons. Faker's melee doesn't have his ult. You can see even that's why Chovy went to try to trap him there and blow him up with that combo. Oh, little voidling that could not. Oh,
and it is the dot going to be enough to take down the turret on that top side. So the entire outer ring has now been removed by T1. 0 turrets picked up for Genji.
All right, well.
And somehow gold is still pretty even. Otacon has spawned as well.
Otacon's up. I mean, the game felt slow. We had that long pause, but we're starting to zoom towards the mid-game now.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun.
Ruler chunked out here. T1 want to try to turn off this Otacon, but they don't have their critical ultimates just yet. But if they can buy enough time and use the control vision around this zone right now to kind of poke away, they will eventually get those ults, but this is why Genji group up faster here, and we're going to see Doran just head back to the side lane, and I think the Otacon idea is now a thing of the past. T1 not going to be starting it up. Genji do have control over it now.
A bit of damage there coming out from Ruler, but not too much more is going to come of this. The Otacon has been started.
And he's just going to buy an item before he goes in.
Yeah, Redemption coming on through. That is going to give them the information that this has been taken, as there are a lot of presents, but they're not being woken up as Chovy off to the side. Faker comes on in, there's the Paranoia. They're looking to try and turn this. Chovy lands the ult, gets in there, and both of the carries just get destroyed as Lilia and Yone go down. Doran tries to get out, but now Keria not going to be so lucky. Feats of strength come in as well for Genji as they take the Otacon, and that looked like a much better fight for them.
A much better fight for them. The Otacon they take is control. They stop T1 from taking it. They dissuade them from doing so. Get the group up there, and the collapse is so strong with this draft. The turn is amazing, and the Nocturnal, the Paranoia makes it so difficult to outplay this moment. Unfortunately for Oner and Faker here, they both stand on top of each other, which is exactly where Duro is going to come in and engage on them. Doran has to flash away. Keria is just left alone, has to TP out, but the Otacon is a success for Gen.G. Also, we'll grab Soul Point in this game. When we first saw the Chemtech Dragon, we were like, we don't know what Soul it's going to be. It's an Ornn, again, with Mountain Soul. Another Mountain Soul game here for Gen.G, and
oh my!
They have Soul Point.
And look at the Essence Reaver, it's already upgraded. Keen's level 14. And so the ornaments are going to start really stacking things up, and so it's going to feel a little bit like this snowball is rolling even faster than we expect. Faker doesn't quite find the knock-up here onto Keen. Does manage to hit him with a bunch of buttons, but Keen doesn't seem too perturbed by it with 2 items already completed.
Yeah, when you can factor in the extra XP for an Ornn, feels really good.
Not to mention the standing gold situation, right? Like, it's only 1,000 gold lead, but that's because Gen.G hasn't taken a turret.
Yeah.
There are 3 that are already on the floor for T1, so as these structures start to go down, if Gen.G can hold on to the level of control that we think an advantage like this is going to be able to get them, then it could get even worse, unless T1 can find themselves a turnaround. Catch Gen.G overstepping. That's what this composition does so incredibly well.
Yes.
If you step too far forward,
You can't side lane.
yeah, you're kind of ruined.
And oftentimes the Maokai just prevents collapses from happening, but not into this draft. It can give you a little bit of zoning, don't get me wrong, but
That looked like Ruler did a barrel roll.
yeah.
That was very
Just
cool.
was a ballerina right there.
That was a bit sideways.
It's very funny looking.
I liked it.
So you can see the gold leads, we keep highlighting this. Chovy is the most fed member here for the side of Gen.G, but everyone else is very competitively close, and it doesn't matter if you have leads from the turrets you took early if your carries blow up instantly in a team fight, which is what happened in that Otacon exchange. And now Gen.G just want to control this bottom side of the map where the dragon is for the next 3 minutes here. Very difficult to start Baron with this comp for T1 unless they have full control.
Yeah.
They're just going to surgically start removing turrets off the map.
And this bottom outer is going to get taken. Mega Inferno Bomb is going to deal with the wave. And this is what this composition from T1 does very well. It's why Gen.G have been unable to take turrets thus far, is because the existence of Ziggs is a huge deal.
Yeah, and there's not really that much trade-off. There's nothing to fight for yet here. The Baron is not going to be started by T1 in 15 seconds, so you can commit your bomb there.
That's a 2-level advantage in mid.
Again, happened on...
A level and a half. Let's give it a level and a half.
Yeah, well, it's a level and a half. You're right.
Yeah.
No Rod of Ages this time to get the triple we saw previously, but Gen.G now just kind of going, all right, like, we have big lead. We have the combo working a treat. Chovy has that extra arm guard. All we got to do is secure this dragon, and the longevity of this comp with the ornaments and the Mountain Soul makes that late game feel a lot more palpable than it did before. It felt like before you're like, oh, 1,000 goldie, that's nowhere near enough with this draft, but certainly it is going to be about the team fights. It's going to be about the setup. How much poke can T1 get done before Gen.G all in on top of them? Can they use poke to try to control objectives? These are the questions they're going to have to answer as a culling comes out from Ruler.
Wow, that's doing a lot of damage, as Ruler has a ton of farm in this game. He's ahead of the clock by 20 CS, which is kind of ludicrous.
I mean, they did a lot of damage here. They have control of this Baron pit now.
Yeah, Keen trying to look for that knock-up, doesn't quite get it, as he could theoretically go to sleep, but I don't think they want to use it on Justin Ornn, who can mitigate the CC. Faker here towards this bottom side of the map.
Chovy
trying to get that split to work.
He should be able to get this turret with the TP there to the mid lane. Okay, it doesn't have really a thicker wave. I thought he had a bigger one here. It does have another one coming, but it's going to require response here from T1.
Yeah,
Faker is backing.
I'm not going to be invested into this or anything like that. As Canyon moves over. Watch out, Eep there from Oner. Will do a fair bit of damage, but doesn't quite find the pirouette. As Bowling Ball collected there by Canyon, who does take a little bit of a nap, but not hit by the sweet spot of that one. Redemption does come on down here as Paranoia coming on through yet again. Ruler finding the angles there, and Chovy connects so many ultis. There's the fear onto Faker. He's unable to actually make his way forward as Duro not going to finish off Doran, who is on his last legs in this fight. The ulti from Faker comes through, but it's onto Keen, and he's basically immortal on this on. Oner still able to get some work done though, as now he's spinning around this battle. Keen just headbutts Doran to get him out of there, and Canyon and Chovy, the last men standing on their side, whereas it's Gumayusi Oner holding down the fort for T1. Another very even team fight in this game.
All right, these are the kind of even team fights I was talking about. I'd love to see in a Game 5. Very scrappy, very split up for T1, but each individual player playing it so well, especially Oner. It all starts off knowing that the spell shield for Canyon is down. They commit the sleep and the bomb. He also gets caught by the root here. Duro is low, but then look at how fragmented T1 is. Keria gets jumped on here by Chovy. Chovy then takes a bunch of the health away from Guma. Doran's flash here, though, is phenomenal. He can offer a little bit more damage in this fight. As look at Faker as well. Gets the extra shield. Duro narrowly escapes initially, forces Oner's flash. That's a big catch, by the way. That's a big win that Oner has to flash there, as Keen does get that final moment there. Gets the kill onto the Jace. Is finally shut down. But like the big win is for T1 that they have the better set now for this dragon fight. They have the zoning, they have the range to back this up. The vision isn't lasting forever here as Genji takes that away from them. How much poke can they land before Genji start this dragon up is the real question. Keen?
Yeah, how good is this sleep going to be as well? There's a knock up and Keria just dies! Mega in front of him, also not able to do anything! As Genji, they did push the Paranoia button, but now the Redemption comes down. They're basically full health, and the ulti connects onto Guma! He gets feared, and you can understand why he's scared, because this Genji are on the warpath in this game! Faker gets over the wall, but Chovy is lurking, and he will be able to finish off the Yone. The resets come on in, he finds the ult, he finds the Q, and there's the double kill for the Vex. Genji, they take the soul, and now they're looking for Baron.
They're looking for Baron. They have a 3,000 gold lead. That collapse onto Guma was maybe the winning moment here for Genji in the series. His owner looks for a trap here, tries to put those health bars low, tries to dissuade them from doing a Baron, but he's got no flash and no chance of stopping Genji from taking this one down. They give him no entry, no angle, and Genji might have just done it. It's only a 3,000 gold lead, but with this comp and the Baron they have, the standing gold you mentioned is going to be massive as Keria goes in here a little bit too deep with a grasp there, and then he's just instantly taken out.
Like the dwarves of Moria, Wolf, you're exactly right. A little bit too greedily and too deep.
And then Guma is just left alone as Faker's trying to disengage. He also was denied his ultimate.
Interruption there. Missed that one the first time.
And he does not want to go back to his body, and he won't because he's taken out before he could even snap back. Doran then just the victim of another Chovy ult reset. And this series has had a little bit of everything in it, but this dive comp from Genji, the unique Vex, this comp, it looks like they were saving just for a situation like this. They didn't necessarily want to show it today in this series, but they bring it out.
Ulti just barely missing on Guma there, who does have a fair bit of wave clear, but unfortunately against Baroned up minions, the Ziggs loses a whole lot of that power.
Chovy and Canyon absent in that series against KT. Canyon woke up with a Skarner game. I think Chovy's been here this series pretty much all along, but this Vex game, 4,000 gold against his opposition. The Cassiopeia as well, 3 levels up in game 4.
I think the last two games, Chovy has definitely made his way back. The first 3, honestly, still looking a bit absent. Canyon as well. This is what happens when Genji are firing on all cylinders. As the train has left the station, there's a knock-up onto Keria. This tree not lasting very long. The knock-up immediately afterwards onto Doran as well. As Keen manages to find that angle, and now Chovy is looking for the ulti. This time he connects it. The ult from Faker to try and pick him up though, but unfortunately these wallets be heavy, and down goes the Ziggs with no response.
They clear the wave. They buy themselves some time in this this game, and they're certainly going to need it. 40 seconds on the Ziggs, 30 on the Jace, and the map is falling around them with this Baron buff wave coming through. It's just a matter of time before this base is cracked open. Looks like Gen G might have their opportunity for revenge on KT, and potentially then revenge on Hanwha for the Summer Finals in 2024. One last opportunity to defend for T1.
Bit of a face plant here from Keen, but we'll see whether they actually have the damage to take him down. I don't even think Nexus turrets are really doing anything to this on. First Nexus turret will be taken out as T1 clearing out the wave. And with everyone respawning and some lower health bars, it looks like Gen G are trying to get themselves out of their Faker. Going forward, though, looking for an angle. Bowling balls connecting as Oner doesn't quite have the lilting lullaby, and it's a flank TP angle from a Ziggs. Chovy is going to find him, but this health bar is so... Oh my god, he just died in an instant! He walked around a corner and just... Chovy went boo! And he's dead!
And that's the end of it!
Oh my god, Faker is now taking so much damage. The train drives on through there. They're getting the fears. Oner's going to be taken down, and the Nexus will follow. Gen G will avoid the play-ins, and you will see the MSI defending champs at the